Vulnerable to the cast. All right, y'all, let's get started. Good morning.
Good morning.
Class number 4 of our 6-week session. So class number 4 means we're working with the heart chakra, working with the energy in the chest. And today in particular, we are going to focus on using the breath to stretch the chest, which in return is going to strengthen the muscles behind the heart. This is important because this is going to help to correct any sort of postural deviations where maybe we have some thoracic curve. It's going to help us to stand up a little taller. When we work on this, not only is it improving posture, but it is stretching the intestines and the stomach, optimizing digestion, absorption of nutrients, which means more energy, faster cellular repair, better immune system, and also helping with elimination processes. Oh, it's all right, you can laugh like a 12-year-old. I do. I do every time I hear that. Elimination. Okay, let's go. Let's bring the block between the knees and the thighs. Seeing that the knees, the ankles, and the feet are the same distance apart, webbing out the toes and the hands. Gloria, show us how it's done. This is her jam right here. As we inhale, let's sweep the arms up and overhead into extended mountain, looking up towards the ceiling, or maybe looking to where the wall meets the ceiling so that we open up the throat without straining our neck. Find the breath, nice big inhale. Let's turn the palms forward and sweep the hands back. Keeping the rhythm, one breath, one movement. Inhale, arms come up. Exhaling, palms forward and back. We can refine the breath a little more, inhaling in through the nose as much as possible. Exhale as if you're going to try fogging a mirror. A few more of those. Focusing more on the exhale. Yes, the inhale is important. That's what signals that we're still alive. But in order to take in a nice big breath, we need to get all of that stagnant air out. Focusing more on the exhale, fully bringing up and out of the body any stagnant breath, any old air that might be interfering with your energy in the day. At least a couple more. We can always close the eyes. This way already we're leading into trusting what we feel, less on what we see. Instructing the body to lean into the felt sense. What feels right in this moment? Let's come down, bring one hand to the belly, one hand over the heart, pressing just a little bit into the chest, encouraging the breath to stay low in the body. Inhaling, pressing the stomach out. Exhale, pulling the stomach in. Keeping this as an active, diaphragmatic, or belly breath. Naturally, sometimes we feel that the chest and the heart want to move when we breathe. If your body is doing that, turn this into a 3-part breath. If your chest is moving at all, breathe down into the belly, then build the breath up to the heart. And as we exhale, we relax the heart, then relax the belly. So there could be different things going on here, right? It could be belly breathing only, or it can be belly and heart breathing. The main thing to remember is this. If we're going to breathe into the heart, start with the belly first, then build the breath up into the chest. Inhaling belly, ribs, heart. Exhale, heart, ribs, belly. One more, either 3-part breathing or belly breathing. Relax the hands down, taking this into a chair flow. Inhaling, arms overhead, little lift of the heels, looking up. Drop the heels, sweep the arms back and around, sitting back. Squeeze the yoga block. Inhale, reaching up. Option to lift the heels, just enough to swipe a credit card under the heels. Exhale, down and around, squeezing the block. Active stabilization in the hips. Inhale, coming up. Option to lift the heels. Exhale, down and around, squeezing the block. Option to close the eyes once we've seen the movement a few times, and once we've had that security of vision to see what's going on around us, closing the eyes at some time, leaning more so into insight, into the felt sense, leaning into your intuition, allowing the body to trust more so what it's feeling than what it's seeing. Inhaling up, little lift of the heels. Exhale, heels down. Sitting back, chair, Utkatasana. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, chair. Placing the hands down on the thighs for a standing cat and cow. Let's bend the elbows deep. Let them flare out to the side. Let your belly drop towards the thighs into a standing cow expression. As we inhale, we can press into our thighs, propping up the ribs. You might start to feel some tightness or some tension in the back by your kidneys. Picked this for the heart opener, but it just so happens this could be very nice this time of year if you've been staying hydrated. Kidneys are working overtime, so we kind of want to give them a little flush. Big inhale, lift. Exhale, bend the elbows. Belly to the thighs, relax the head, shake the head yes, and turn the head left and right. Let's come up halfway, resetting the spine. Bend the elbows, belly towards the block. Inhale, push into the thighs, lifting into standing cow, pressing the shoulders away from the ears. Pull the elbows back like little cricket legs. Pull them back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward with the tailbone, round the whole spine. Let the shoulders come up and around, and maybe dangle the hands towards the floor. Letting go of any notion that we want to touch the floor or make the floor some sort of goal with the practice. Instead, keeping it dynamic by reaching towards the floor. In fact, if you're touching the floor today, maybe try this so that we can keep the pose dynamic. Take your arms across to reach for the opposite forearm, and then hang your elbows towards the floor instead. So sometimes once we touch the floor, the body goes into more of a resting phase, and we lose that dynamic element in our practice. Exhale from your throat, big inhale, and the bigger exhale. Big sigh of relief. Two more. Last one. Let's dangle the hands, walking the hands up to the shins first. Check in with the spine. And now bringing the hands to the thighs. Let's take our yoga block and place it at the top edge of our mat. Taking our sweet time, let's hinge up from the hips. Feet are still open to the width of the pelvis bones, inhaling both arms overhead. Exhale, drawing palms down to the heart. Let's press the thumbs into the center of the chest. From here, keeping the knees soft, let's lift the left heel and slide it back, pressing that left heel straight down into the floor. Lunging forward with the right knee, maybe just taking a moment to look back at that left foot, noticing that usually our body's natural tendency is to rotate in. This is going to mean that our hip and back is a little tighter. Let's try lifting the heel and turning both toes forward. This is going to require more inner thigh and pelvic floor strength, more muscles for bladder. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms up and overhead. Continue to lunge forward and straighten the back left leg. Stacking shoulders over the hips. Imagine you're holding on to a 10-pound bowling ball. There's this sensation of pressure down onto the shoulders. And at the same time, you're holding on to 1,000 helium balloons. So you're lifting. We're attempting to find these completely opposite energetic components that come together, creating equanimity in the body. Being aware of the opposites. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull the shoulders down. Maybe do the reach and the pull without moving at all. And notice how that changes. Inhale, imaginary reach without moving. Exhale, imaginary pressure down. Inhale, reach without moving. Exhale, pressure down. One more, inhale and exhale. Next, inhale, palms forward. Circle the arms back. Let's place the left hand on top of the right arm, stacking the hands behind us. Straightening out the right leg just a little bit. Let's check in with our knees. Little tiny bend in the knees. Y'all remember, right? When people habitually lock their knees out, what's going on in the mind? Stubborn. People, I don't believe that. I know you don't. I know you don't believe it. That's fine. All right, so keep the knees soft. That way we're able to be open to different ideas, go with the flow. When you're ready, inhale, puff out your chest. Breathe deep into the chest. We want to look like we're almost barrel chested or like a really proud bird. Big inhale. And exhale. Notice the bigger you inhale into your chest, the more it's going to pull your ribs up. And the more you might feel a natural inclination to look up. So opening the throat, maybe looking where the wall meets the ceiling, maybe looking up towards the ceiling tiles. Press into the inside blades of the feet. Keep the toes spread wide. Pull up through the pelvic floor. How do we do that? Act surprise. 1, 2, 3. Mula Bandha. Pulling up. And exhale. Let's bend our right knee just a little bit. Keep pressing back hard into the left heel and press into the inner blades of the feet. Pull the muscles up in the pelvic floor. Flip the hips back. Lower the belly towards the thigh. Stopping at the halfway point. Let's take the arms away from our back, extending out into an airplane expression. We are airplanes taking off for a landing versus coming down. Inhale into the heart, come up about 1 inch. And then exhale, feel the body naturally float. 2 more, inhale, keeping that active bend in the right knee. We're pressing down really hard into that right leg. You might even feel some muscles in your hip firing up. 1 more inhale. Take a look forward at your yoga block. Option to reach towards that block at the top edge of the mat. Shifting forward, we're peeling up the back left heel, only the heel. Mindfully keeping the ball of the left foot on the floor. So actively we are conveying some information from the body directly to the brain to stabilize the hips and the pelvis. Relax the jaw. Sometimes it helps to stick your tongue out, like when the doctor says, say ah. Little lion's breath in there. So we can hold it here or maybe shift forward so that we have our sternum and collarbones directly over that yoga block, pushing straight down. We could come up onto our tippy toes, bending that left knee. Only the tippy toe on the left foot, not the right foot. Let me be more clear about that. Please do not lift your right heel off the ground. Please don't do it. If you want, we are actively weight bearing into that right leg. You might have some sensations building in the right hip. This is actively working with bone density and balance. You're welcome to try lifting your left leg away from the floor. Just a hover is enough. And really, we don't have to lift the foot at all to get the benefits of this pose, but it's just a way to stay curious and experiment if you're wanting to try a little something different today. Big breath, big exhale, just 1 more, inhale, exhale. Let's lower that back foot down. Keep the block on the floor. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Finding warrior one. Exhale, taking the hands down onto the hips for balance. Let's step forward, finding our feet open to the width of the pelvis bones in our active mountain expression. Rolling the shoulders back and down, pause for a moment, maybe even close the eyes and find the same breath we began with today. Breathing into the belly first. Maybe the breath is resting low in the body, or maybe we naturally feel the breath building up into the heart. Inhaling from the belly, maybe to the ribs, maybe to the heart. Exhale, softening the whole body. Couple more breaths to reset the spine. Less focus on the body, more focus on the breath. When we're ready, we're extending both arms up and overhead, big breath in. Softening through our knees, sliding the right foot back, and again, staying mindful to notice how our bodies have a natural tendency to rotate out. And working against that, we're keeping both toes forward, pushing down actively into that right heel, into the inner blades of the feet, and bending the left knee. It might feel like a little more of a balance challenge because we're wanting to activate more of the inner thigh muscles versus outer thigh. And most of us, for women, anatomically, we tend to have stronger outer thighs and outer hips, which works against us. Especially when you sneeze, cough, and laugh. Okay? Inhale, reach. Good. Refining warrior one. We're lunging forward, reaching back. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. Finding those dynamic energies of reaching up and yet feeling pressure down. So we're setting those shoulders and armpits into the socket while we're still lengthening actively through the arms. Inhaling, imagining we're being lifted without having to move the body. Exhale, sensing pressure, pulling down into the shoulders. Option to close the eyes at any time. As soon as we close our eyes, chances are it will get a little wobbly. We might feel a little unsure. It might be a little scary because it's kind of dark in there sometimes. But I can reassure you that this is better for the nervous system to close the eyes and to let the body recruit all of the necessary muscles to maintain physical equilibrium. And where we are physically balanced, the mind will naturally follow. Staying maybe another breath or two. Oh yeah, don't forget to breathe. When you're ready, sweep the arms back and around. We're stacking our right arm on top of the left arm this time. Option to straighten the left leg a little more without locking the knees out. Looking down, imagine if there was an egg on your head. We're looking down so that that egg is going to roll off your head. I know we like to talk about good posture a lot, but this is no time for Amy Vanderbilt. Okay? Yeah, wipe that off the table. So imagine there's an egg on your head. We want it to roll off. Now, if you want, close your eyes and begin to sense the presence of a green orb of light in the center of the chest, just behind the sternum. This light is all encompassing of the heart, and it expands out even into your armpits, all the way down to those places close to your belly button. As we inhale, imagine that the breath is expanding with this green orb of light in the upper trunk of your body. When we exhale, that light stays expanded, and we still sense that expansion even while we exhale. Inhaling, the physical body moves with that infinite expansion of the green light. The light stays expanded even while we exhale. One more big inhale and bigger exhale. Let's open our eyes, bending our left knee. We're flipping our hips back, lowering the belly down towards the thighs, stopping at any point where maybe our low back or maybe our knee or even the arches in the feet may say that this is too much, stopping at that point. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale in place. There's a tiny bend in that left knee. Let's bring our hands down onto that front thigh. Option to hold it here, or maybe walking our hands down towards our yoga block for support, coming into pyramid position. We can shake the head yes. We can turn the head left and right. From here, take a deeper bend into that left leg. Walk the hands up onto the thigh and lengthen out through the crown of the head, neutral spine and low back strengthener. Let's extend the arms out beside us, coming into that airplane position. So we call it airplane, but just to be correct in yoga, this is an adapted warrior 3 pose. The warrior 3 position involves your arms straight out, which puts a lot of load on your spine. We're doing an adapted version, healthier for us. From here, we can shift forward and maybe peel up that back heel. Remember the airplane taking off. Come up a little bit. Keep that little bend in the standing leg. If you start to feel your left hip or left thigh firing up, I promise you're doing this right. Act surprised. 1, 2, 3. Lift through your chest and heart. Let the shoulders press away from the ears. Arms are dynamic. Reach. Inhale. Option to come onto the tippy toe. Bending the right knee. Rolling through the foot. Maybe keep it right there. Or maybe add in a gentle lift of the toe. So maybe when we're touching the floor, we don't lift the leg, but maybe when we're upright, we lift the leg. A lot of different ways to do this pose. Big inhale into the center of the chest. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Allowing that back toe to come down. Inhale, take the arms forward and up, sweep it. Big inhale, soak up the breath. Exhale, relax. Let's step forward, feet open to the width of the hips or pelvis. We have our yoga block here at the front of our mat in the most upright position. Shifting over into the left foot. Let's take the ball of the right foot onto the mat, onto the block. Keeping the hands at the waist, maybe first for balance. If you want, you are more than welcome to slip the right hand into the low back. Inhaling, left arm straight up overhead. Stretching the entire left side of the body. Press into the inner and outer blades of the feet. Imagine like a tree, there are roots from the soles of the feet on that left leg, burrowing down into the earth, pulling your leg down from the waist to the armpit to the fingertips, mighty trunk and branches, reaching to the sky. Those are those two dynamic opposite energies. Option to hold it here, or maybe we add on to this by twisting towards the right, taking our arm across the chest and the body. As we inhale, rolling that right shoulder back a little more, and then reaching a little more with the left hand. Press the right knee in just slightly, keeping the muscles in the pelvic floor active and engaged. Breathe mostly into the right side of the chest. The right side of the heart is responsible for receiving. Receiving love, receiving grace. Inhale, open a little more. Exhale, slowly bring it to center. Easy does it. Relax the hands and let's step. Both feet on the floor for support. Move around a little bit. How's everybody your left leg feeling? Is it just me or your hip? Burning. A little bit, little thigh, little, okay. I feel it too. I feel it too. All right, so centering ourselves here. Soft through the knees. Let's place our left foot on the block. Notice as soon as we put one foot up, look at the standing leg. Some of us might notice that our bodies immediately rotate out. So keeping that toe forward as much as possible. It usually is going to be more challenging, but this is what a lot of us need from a corrective standpoint. So keeping the foot forward while we step. But again, for most of us as women, the foot's going to want to go. It just does it all on its own. Okay, keep the knee bent, maintaining kind of a low center of gravity. And one more thing, flip your hips back a little bit. Flip them back. So we get that natural curve in the low back. And that natural curve is going to tell the body we're balanced, we're safe. And this way we can stand a little taller. Let's slip our left hand into the low back. Inhale, reaching the right arm up. Maybe pressing a little more firmly into that right leg. Reaching up, breathing mostly into that upper right side of the heart for now, the receiving side. Big inhale, reach. Exhale, soften a little. At least one more. Inhale, reach. And soften. We could always stay right here. Maybe this is exactly what we need today. There is another option to turn this into a soft twist. As we reach across our body with the right hand, press the left knee in. That's the counterbalance. So left knee presses in, left hip pushes forward a little bit, and then we draw that left shoulder back. So you're doing a twisting motion. Breathing mostly now into the upper left side of the heart and chest. Inhale, drawing the left shoulder back as we actively reach across with the right fingertips. Left side of the body responsible for giving. Of course, you're always welcome to close your eyes. One more big breath. Exhale, let's bring this to center. Stepping both feet down onto the floor, giving our body a bit of full support. Let's come into any standing position. Maybe even close the eyes. Take a moment to move around, pause, notice what you feel, and then change positions. Pause, and then respectively, what feels better? Does the body maybe feel better with the legs a little more wide, a little more narrow? Maybe even we want to step one foot back and one foot forward. So noticing how your body in this moment is naturally recalibrating to find comfort. And you can change your mind anytime. Anytime you want. When we find that comfortable position, let's inhale, draw the breath in, and exhale, swan dive. Taking it down towards the floor. We have our block here for support. We can use the block, hands on top, stepping one foot back, lowering our knees. Taking the other leg back, moving into cat and cow. The block can go between the knees and the thighs. We could come down onto our elbows, so there's no pressure on the wrist for cat and cow flow. We could also experiment with rolling up the front of the mat, elevating the heel of the hand. Anything goes here. From wherever you are, drop the belly, press the shoulders away from the ears. If you're on your hands, I recommend bending the elbows momentarily. Let them go out to the side, then pull them back. Then straighten the arms. And it's just going to give a different feeling to the shoulders and rotator cuff. Let's press the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale. Exhale, pull the tailbone down. Round through the spine and the belly, pull the navel up and drop the head. Inhaling, coming into cow, flipping our hips back, dropping the belly, lengthening out through your heart and sternum. Exhale, pulling the hips in, hinging from the waist, pull up through the belly button. One more, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Holding in cat position, usually we exhale coming into cat, inhale while you're holding cat. And notice that in this position, when we inhale, you might notice the breath creating a lift in the upper back or even behind your heart. One more big breath in, and then exhale to neutral spine. Let's take our block out from the legs and place it just beside us on the mat. If you have a perch of any kind or any cushioning, go ahead and unroll the mat. Taking our feet over to one side, let's come around into seated stack, extending the legs out in front of us. Scoot towards the front edge of the mat. Sitting nice and tall, we're bending the knees just a bit, just enough so there's enough to, I would say today, enough to fit a soft ball under the knees, or at least a small Nerf ball, so that we get like a nice big lift and we don't pull on the back. Let's draw the toes towards our knees, spread the toes out dynamically, inhaling, sitting nice and tall, pull the fingers back, noticing if the shoulders naturally begin to rotate the fingers out and trying to keep those fingers forward as much as possible. Option to come to a flat palm here, bending the elbows. On the next inhale, push into the hands to create a full supported upright fish. This is fish. I know. Fish. Did y'all know fishes is a real word? Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea. Some of you know that song, right? Anyone? Classic, classic. On the next inhale, push a little more. Look up. We're clearing out, hopefully, a lot of the chest, a lot of the lymph nodes that are in the guts, in the visceral area. We're opening up or optimizing digestion, helping the kidneys out. We press our shoulders down, give those kidneys a little hug. Big inhale. And then exhale, relax. From here, let's shift forward. Bend the left knee in. Walk the right heel to the middle of the mat. So we're able to angle that leg in just a little bit. Let's cross the left leg over the right. Your left foot may or may not be flat. It doesn't have to be flat. Let's hold on with our right hand over the shin or even over the knee. So from seated, supported fish, we're gonna go into half Lord of the Fishes. You're welcome. Inhale, reach. Big breath in. Exhale, circle it around. Keep the hand really close to the hip and lean back. If you want, as you're twisting over to the left, take your right hand, and if you want to experiment, this is an experiment. You might feel something in your right shoulder when you do this. Take your elbow on the outside of that left leg. Yeah, right? It's definitely an experiment. Now, if you have extra blessings, lean back a little more and make that space so that your hand can come over a little more. Breathe into the left side of your chest. Exhale, relax a little. Maybe close the eyes and become aware what part of the body is working the hardest right now. Or is there any one part of the body where we are noticing a strain, a resistance? Maybe Put 30% less effort into this pose, and then breathe into those places where there's resistance or where there's strain. So you start to become a little more friendly with those parts of your body. Continue to lengthen through the crown of the head, opening up on every inhale, the left side of the heart and the left side of the chest. You do not have to do the other side, but if you want to switch sides, let's take away the right arm first and push off the left hand. Switching out the legs, we're bending our right knee, walking the left foot or the left heel to the center of the mat. Very important to keep the foot active and turn it in a little bit, because when we do this big twist, it's going to pull you over. We don't want it to hurt your knees or your ankles. Let's cross over. Grasping hold of that right leg. Inhale, right arm up. Big inhale, reach, push the right hip down and reach through the fingertips. On the next exhale, twist it around, keeping the hand very close to the hip and maybe leaning back a little bit. Breathing mostly into the upper right lung as we twist. Maybe leaning back a little more so that we open up the frame of the body, giving us space to experiment with crossing the left arm over. Pressing the arm into the leg and the leg into the arm, or push straight down into your kneecap and then rotate with your shoulder. Little hands like, your face said it all. That was great. Sitting nice and tall. Noticing the expression on our face. The nerves in the heart connect to the nerves in the amygdala, emotional centers of the brain, and those nerves connect to the nerves in your face. So your face says it all. Don't you like when people go, but I am loving and kind? It's like, really? Okay. Soften the face, big inhale, bigger exhale. An expression of loving kindness. When you're ready, either stay a little longer or slowly release that left hand. Let's push off the right hand to come to center. Extending both legs out, let's shake off the knees. One final seated posture, butterfly. Bringing both feet in, toes are touching. We can open our knees out to the side. Keeping the hands soft, resisting the urge to pull on the feet. Instead, focusing on opening up the back of the body. Starting with an inhale, lengthening the spine, opening the chest. Then exhale, approaching the stretch with a lot of patience. Inhale, rise up a little bit. Come out of the pose just a bit with the breath. And then exhale. It's a very soft approach. Think less about stretching your inner thighs and hips, and instead consider softening the upper back, the spine, the neck, and the head. At some point, allow your body to come forward like a rag doll without tension or pressure on the spine. Receiving the breath through the back of the heart. Exhale, feel the breath moving out the front of the body, going to the earth. Inhaling, receiving through the back of the body. Exhale, giving the breath to your yoga mat. Give your breath to the earth. Relax the jaw. Let's keep the head hanging nice and loose. Before we come up, really being aware of how we move the body, the mechanics of the spine. The larger vertebra, the bones in the spine, the bigger ones are in the bottom, smaller ones are in the top. So we're going to come up stacking the bones. Rather than lifting the head straight up, keep the head down. Take the hands and push into your legs so that we begin to take the energy back into the hips and low back, and then slowly begin to roll up, stacking the larger bones, smaller bones on top, and then coming up to a tall seated position. Let's fold the knees in and take the feet apart to any width, drawing our hands or elbows back behind us to the floor. Windshield wiper knees, sway the knees left and right, working in a nice big twist into the low back and hips before we lie down on our backs. Match the breath to the movement, inhaling as we rise up to center, exhaling when we twist over to one side. You might feel this all the way up into the chest and shoulders. Notice if it feels more comfortable to go left or right. Then hold it on that one side and allow your body to roll all the way over, lying down on one side. Holding at least for 3 to 5 breaths in a sleeping child's position. Focusing on the breath. Stay here as long as the body wants to stay. So really, a group yoga class is like a yoga buffet line. There's just all these different little things that we do that you can pick and choose from in an effort to curate your own practice. So at any time, if something feels really good, maybe just stay there. If you're curious to try something different, let's go ahead and roll over onto our backs. Our blocks are directly beside us on our mat. Let's grab our block from beside us. Bring the knees up off the floor and place the block between the knees and the thighs in the most narrow position. Let's extend our legs up towards the sky, getting a visual on the ankles and the toes. Point and flex the feet a few times. Roll out the ankles, maybe one at a time, maybe both at once. It is very common to have some small snap, crackle pops. It could just be air or fluid moving around in the ankles. If there's any one pose that I prescribe more than others, it's this: legs up the wall, Viparita Karani. Making sure we've moved the ankles both clockwise and counterclockwise. Going into that point and flex of the feet again, a little more neutral movement. Let's flex our feet, bend the knees, and lower the feet flat to the floor, knees bent with our block. Coming into a constructive resting position. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky as if we're going to paint the ceiling. Then reach the arms back, painting the back wall, resting your knuckles down on the floor behind you, stretching through the stomach. Let's lift the hands, painting the ceiling, and lower the palms down to the yoga mat outside your hips. Flowing with the breath, inhale, arms come up and back. Exhale, arms come up, press down to the floor. Couple more of these, just loosening up the rotator cuff, maybe even loosening up some other deep, deep muscles around the ribs and the spine. Flowing with the arms one more time.
Let's meet with our hands down on our mat outside the hips. On the next inhale, pressing firmly down into our feet, just lifting the hips enough to maybe roll a golf ball under your spine. Not too far at all, not too high at all. Continue to press the inner thighs into the block. Pull the heels back. Try lifting your toes off the floor. Digging down into the heels. Pushing down a little more into the heels, lifting the hips, maybe a little more. Focusing more on digging into the heels and squeezing into the block. If you'd like to experiment today, kick your left leg out, 45 degrees. And now lower the left heel, toes stay lifted. Press into the left heel and kick the right leg out. When you're ready, lowering that leg, lower the hips. Inhaling in place. Exhale, relax. Let's lift our feet off the floor, take the block off to the side. Let the knees sway a little bit left and right. Let's allow the body to move in any natural way as we prepare ourselves for final relaxation. Traditional Shavasana or relaxation pose has our legs lengthened out in front of us with the toes turning out slightly. Palms would be facing up. Maybe the hands are just a foot or a little more than a foot away from the body. We can always adapt this posture so that we're able to tune into our body's needs. Sometimes it feels better to bend the elbows, place hands on the stomach. And sometimes it does feel better to keep the knees bent. Thinking about the breath in the body. Sensing when it's time to inhale. Maybe pause at the top of that breath. And noticing when the body is ready to let go. Pausing as the breath expires. Noticing when the body is ready to open and receive the next breath. When are we ready to exhale, give? And when are we ready to receive, inhale? That is the energy of the heart. Becoming aware of that intimate exchange of give and take with ourselves, with other people, in relationship to the earth. In sound therapy, the healing heart sound is yum, just like yummy. As you inhale and exhale, perhaps absorb the sound yum when you breathe in. Exhale, sensing that the sound yum moves out from your body. As we continue to take this holistic approach in working with the heart, the color is green, the sound is yum, the element is air, the emotion that is most destructive is grief. Grief is relative to attachment, and it's an attachment that creates suffering. So in healing the heart, letting go, making space, And maybe we don't even know what it is we need to let go of. Maybe we don't even know what it is that's taking up space. Inhale the color green. Exhale the color red. As we continue to breathe easy, working with letting go. This is also known as the practice of aparigraha, to let go. Start to deepen the breath. There's more space to receive. Inhale. Exhale, let go. And then maybe start to wiggle the fingertips and the toes a little bit. Noticing what part of the body feels most inspired to move so that we can slowly roll to one side and bring ourselves up to seated for closing. From here, we can inhale the arms overhead, nice big reach, and then exhale back. Couple more, inhale, and exhale. Bringing the hands together at the heart, Anjali Mudra, which loosely translated, the seal of physical reverence, an expression to show love for the physical body. And that's why we do yoga. So that's because it's too expensive to bail you out of jail. That's why that's why we also do yoga. Some things are illegal. All right, sit nice and tall. Bow the chin. From here, we can bow together in closing. Namaste.
Namaste.
Yoga. Because lawyers are expensive. That's why.
It's a great option.
Yoga or jail? Yoga. Yoga.